made me wonder, how could someone who would have gone through so much, yet he becomes sadistic almost, loses all human compassion. So sometimes a personal tragedy can create monsters. The reason why other Muslim scholars don't openly adhere or preach the very values that Haqiqatjou so proudly and boastfully propagates is because they are not sadists or psychopaths who are totally devoid of compassion and mercy. But that is not the case with Haqiqatjou. No sane person can advocate and propagate Sharia. And I fear this experience has turned him into a cold-blooded, heartless, compassionless sadist at best, or psychopath at worst. Ideas like Haqiqatjou propagate are dangerous for everyone sharing the planet with him. For example, he is incapable of giving out evil commands, meaning he is not omnipotent. I wonder why Muslims make fun of Christians with the concept of God is the Father and the Son. Muhammad pretends, I'm getting another revelation, and adds the phrase, other than the disabled. When Muhammad realizes he can achieve a lot more, he abrogates it. Allah was like, where's our prophet, Allah? So that just kind of triggered in my mind, like, do you think snails, are they halal or not?
It looks like you're gish galloping. You're just giving all of these random points. Like, can you just specify something that you want me to respond to? It seems like you're just rambling. The topic of the debate is Sharia and human rights, and you're just bringing all these different theological issues.
From Sharia.
Don't interrupt me. You have specific questions that I gave you clearly that you can respond to on human rights, but you're just bringing up all of these random topics. Even in that situation, the world would be a better place if instead of nukes, chemical warfare, biological warfare, constant mass surveillance from intelligence agencies, warrantless wiretapping, all of this, on one hand, and a world that has slavery, and a world that has slavery. Which one is better? And there's a lot to say about slavery being the better world, the world that's lower tech but has slavery.
Not for the slave. No, not really. Not for the slave. I mean,
it's not great for the guy who's being nuked. It's not great for the guy that's being burned alive with chemical weapons, with biological weapons. It's not great for those victims of Agent Orange, those children born with these kinds of huge heads.
I would rather be nuked. I would rather be nuked than be a slave for someone for 20 years. I would rather be nuked than be enslaved for someone for 30 years.
Then be killed by a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, I'd rather be killed than be a slave.
Okay.
Then be a slave, yes.
That's really logical.
That's so easy.
So, gentlemen, I do want to transition.
So why do you live in the US?
Why does he not go to Afghanistan or Syria to fight for ISIS or Taliban? Haqiqatjou is only a literalist and honest as long as he is sitting in his nice suburban home in America watching Muslim apologists debate on 70-inch TVs. You had the perfect opportunity to go to Syria or Afghanistan to fight for your cause, but you chose to sit in your nice house in America.
There's no obligation at all times to fight jihad, and there's no obligation at all times to take slaves or sex slaves. This is a complete misrepresentation. Harris needs to study Islamic law and fiqh because he's clearly ignorant. Nowhere have I endorsed ISIS or said that, yeah, they're the true representation of Islam. So it's a complete straw man. But I just want to make one other point. Why don't you, Harris, you want me to get off my backside and go to Afghanistan while that country is being bombed and being threatened by the United States, just getting out of a 20-year brutal occupation with thousands of deaths and rapes? Why don't you tell your followers, Harris, all these followers that you have in Pakistan and India, all these Murtads like you, tell them to move to Botswana. Why don't you tell them to move to Botswana, tell them to move to Haiti, because Botswana and Haiti, they have LGBT rights, they have women's rights. Why are they in Muslim countries? You should tell them to move to Botswana and Haiti. And in fact, it would be a more favorable position than Muslims moving to Afghanistan, because if your followers move to Botswana, Pakistan wouldn't bomb Botswana. Pakistan wouldn't try to agitate in Botswana and try to get them to adopt Sharia or Islamic law. They would be able to live their free lives with human rights and LGBT rights and women's rights. Why don't you do that, Harris? Is it because you're a con man? Is it because you're dishonest? You're not telling your followers in none of your videos, hey guys, human rights are great. Move from a Muslim country like Pakistan or Bangladesh and go to Botswana and Haiti. You never say that. So you're a hypocrite. You are a con man.
How could anyone defend having slavery, what about the families of those people? I mean, they're always going to live beneath the master's heel.
What about all of the destruction to families by colonialism, modern neocon warfare, by the invasions and occupations of Afghanistan and Iraq and Libya, Vietnam, the Vietnam War, all of these things you just want to sweep under the carpet? How about we talk about the millions of people that were killed because of forced famines, because of British colonialism, the same British colonialism that was trying to spread human rights and civilization and enlightenment to the subcontinent. Your ancestors faced that kind of genocide and that kind of forced famine. And here, you don't want to stand by that? Tell us where you stand on colonialism, because you've avoided that question. You just want to talk about, oh, Muslims are barbaric because we practiced slavery. I gave you the argument for why that was not only morally justified, it was morally necessary, and all of these other cultures practiced it. All of these other religions condoned it. I cited you Lawrence Keeley, an academic who explains exactly why you have to have it to survive. Otherwise, you're going to be wiped off the face of the earth. You haven't addressed any of these things.
I said, see how nice I am. I've actually said yes to everything that you said so far.
Yeah, I'm a sadist apparently, so you're very nice. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm actually surprised that you actually didn't use, in defense of slavery, you didn't use the example of, well, modern day 9-to-5 job is slavery as well. You didn't use that because, you know, that's how you come up with these
kind of argument is too sophisticated for you, Harris. You can't even understand the basic argument.
You know, he was so pathetic.
You couldn't even understand. I can't educate you on all these things, Harris. Respond to the argument that I gave, not another debate.
You knew it was so pathetic that you actually dropped that. You were so scared to actually use that. No. Yes, you were.
I'm so scared. I'm terrified of you, Harris. You're a towering intellect.
I can see.